Inspired by Love is a podcast hosted by Rachel Love, dedicated to promoting inspiration, hope, and giving a healthy dose of God's love for every aspect of life. Rachel is a seasoned inspirational enthusiast who uses witty commentary and biblical truths for real-life solutions, offers business strategies, health and wealth tips, and self-love care. Unlock the power tools to dig deeper, discover your untapped potential, and live your best extraordinary life. Here's your host, Rachel Love.
Welcome to Inspired by Love. I'm Rachel Love. I'm your host for today, and I'm super excited to have one of my girlfriends here who is a clinical licensed social worker, and her name is Dr. Wendy Talley. Dr. Talley, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Miss Love. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Well, honey, I just really want to get to the nuts and bolts of our topic today is mental wholeness and mental wellness.
Yes.
There's been a taboo in our community, in the Black community, about seeking therapy for mental wellness or mental illness. So explain to our viewers and our listeners what mental illness is.
Well, first and foremost, I want to be able to distinguish between two concepts that we as an organization, as far as it being mental health professionals, but even we've all done it, all professionals have done it, and we still continue to do, is to interchange the two terminologies of mental health and mental illness.
Okay.
We tend to use mental health to kind of just have a blanket statement over everything, rather they're actually totally two different things.
Okay.
And so when it comes to mental health is a state of well-being, right? So think about when we use the word healthy. Healthy actually sounds positive, right?
Yes.
And mental is about the mind. So when you put the two together, you're talking about having a mind that is well.
Okay.
So we want to be able to distinguish that away from mental illness. And mental illness is more of a condition. It is a condition where mentally you are given a particular diagnosis because there are some things that have been determined where you may find yourself having some lacking when it comes to your cognitive functioning, when it comes to how you see the world, your insight, your judgment, where you may have some thought patterns that may not be in alignment to mental health, mental well-being, having a good and sound mind. Also, too, I want to be able to distinguish, to talk about the word normal. We tend to use that a lot in the African-American community, and as that segue into talking about, our taboos and what we see it as the Black community. The word normal, right? We all have grown up with an idea of what normal is, but if you look at that idea of what normal is, if you can put a picture, it's based off of a belief system or a person. Society has set as the standard, this is what you should be doing, acting, being, and believing, right? And so we have a standard. But then if you look at it from a cultural aspect, for the Black community, that has a lot of variations.
Wow.
Even in other cultures, it has variations. So what is normal? Normal is based off of what you believe is important to you, what you are doing to keep your level of functioning up to be a productive member, not only in society, but in your home life, your professional life, and even in your relationships. So I want to be able to distinguish all of those things because we tend to interchange that, and it gets people confused. Okay.
That part. So as a society, as a whole, we are now experiencing a global pandemic.
Yes.
And I think, I'm an adult, so the adults are able to just deal with, okay, this is our new normal. But then we have a whole generation of young people that are very social. So they're active on their social media, they're posting, they're linking up. I mean, these are all the terms that they're using. And now they're being told they can't go out, they can't meet in person, you got to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Now, I know that that is causing a lot of anxiety,
Yes.
depression,
Yes.
just unstableness. So can we speak to that?
Yeah.
Those issues right there.
Absolutely. When it comes to this pandemic, I mean, just in the awe, I have the awe of, wow, we're actually living through something like this.
Yes.
I'm still very much shocked. At this age, I'm really seeing history being made and being a part of it. You tend to read this kind of stuff in the history books.
Yes.
And so when we talk about our younger generations, our millennials and our zennials, right? They are, I am concerned about them because they're going to be experiencing this through a very tough time with the generation of you and I that don't know what to do. We've never been through this.
No.
Our parents would tell us about situations and moments in time, but they never really told us exactly the strategic plan of what they did to get through. So guess what? We don't have it. And so our young people, and especially our babies, but our young people are suffering. And how are they suffering? They're suffering through the fact of being lost. I believe in being lost in trying to find that niche, not all, but trying to find, where do I fit in all of this? How do I find myself in a position to make sense of all of this? What am I going through? And so they don't have a clear direction of all of their questions being answered. And then we have some young people that are just vibrant, that we call woke, and about what it is, what mental illness really is, what mental wellness really is, and how this pandemic is really affecting them. And so for our young people, that depression and anxiety are just one of two things a lot of them are experiencing. So let's take it back to our community, our Black community. Prior to the pandemic, we had a pandemic of post-traumatic stress syndrome anyway.
Okay.
What was that? That was the generational belief system of being a slave and being attacked and being, oppressed and discriminated against in racism, right? So this is not new to our community. I believe what is new for the young people, which I love so dearly and I appreciate, they have broken down the door and said, we are not going to be silent. We won't be compliant.
Yes.
And so our generation, and before, they would have some people that will fight, but there was a generation that was so compliant. Okay. Yeah. They knew how to be silent. This generation isn't silent. And so with this generation, they're not only experiencing anxiety and depression, they are experiencing a level of mental trauma directly and indirectly on social media. Wow. Social media is causing them a lot of indirect trauma. What is that? You see an image. Think about the images that you see constantly. Your business. Yes. You have to constantly be in the know, constantly having to read things. Well, guess what you're doing to yourself, Ms. Jones? You are actually causing yourself a level of indirect trauma because that is bringing up past trauma issues, okay, or experiences, or the fear factor. And so that's what's happening, I believe, with a lot of the young people, but I applaud them for not being silent. Yes. They won't be compliant, and they're giving our generation and the older generation the nerve to say, I'm going to follow you, because we needed another type of leader to break down that compliance door. So that's what I believe was going on with the pandemic, with the racial unrest, and God rest all of the souls that we have lost through all of these tragedies, and not just what's been recent, but the ones we don't even talk about. I really commend them on that. But we're going to have to love on this generation when this thing settles, because when it does, my couch, like now, will even be 10 times more full because now we got to mentally put them back into the state of well-being.
I mean, that was so succinctly and well said. I mean, I could not repeat it, but I am taking it all in because just 2 years ago, I did suffer a trauma and traumatic experience in losing my husband. And, you know, it's like people say, well, you're going to grieve, but you don't know until you're in those shoes. And so I'm very sympathetic to people, especially now, because the timeline is filled with, you know, people losing someone. Every day a loved one is being lost. One is too many.
Yes.
The thousands of people that have died due to COVID-19. You know, so I just felt like this topic for this show, Inspired by Love, and we're having a summertime series, and usually summer, it just dictates outside cookouts, family. You know, we just celebrated Independence Day. To me, it did not feel like Independence Day. But I am reminded spiritually that I am free in Jesus. And so I'm hoping that our listeners that are tuning in are being helped in some way. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and some of the things that you have accomplished?
Oh yes. So yes, I love it when God gives you a new name, when He has transitioned you and positioned you into a new space and time. And God has given me a new name, and so now I'm known as Dr. Wendy Talley. I've been in the mental health profession for the last 20 years. It was 20 years on May 11th that just passed.
Wow.
Where I can say I have now completed 20 years in this profession. Thank you. And I recently am part of the graduation class of 2020. So those of you, I feel your pain, you know, just to even be able to walk across the stage at the University of Southern California School of Social Work. Go Trojans, fight on, right? Just to be able to do something like that and have that stripped away at such a monumental time was hard for a lot of us as a class, but also it was hard for us as a culture, as a Black culture there at USC, being one of the largest class to graduate, one of the largest group of Black doctors, you know.
Wow.
So I'm pretty proud about that. And so, you know, and I didn't have my mother. I lost my mother right at the beginning of the program, and I lost my father about when I was 17 years old. So you guys can do the math of how long it's been. And you know, so I've accomplished so much, and so I know that they've been here in spirit and all of that. But, you know, just being a mental health professional, I own my own private practice, the Lease Consulting Group near the LAX or Los Angeles airport area, for those of us that are not from Los Angeles listening in. And I've had that private practice now, it'll be 5 years. But the Lease Consulting Group has been around since 2010. So now we are now from one person, myself, to now a team of individuals. That's who I am. And then also, too, I have my own book, Smart Goals and Time Management Workbook. And that's monumental for me, Ms. Jones, because I'm a person with a learning disability. I was born this way. Me and my twin brother, God rest his soul, I was the only one that survived during the birthing process, during that traumatic experience of coming into this world, not breathing for 10 minutes, caused some cognitive, you know, delays. Well, that didn't delay my blessing, because again, being known today as Dr. Wendy Talley for one of the best private universities in the nation, I have to say, whatever your belief system is about yourself, I am your reason to keep on going. So with that, for my book, and then just recently, it'll be a year in September, I am now the Sony Pictures entertainment therapist here in Culver City, California.
Congrats.
So yes, I'm really excited about that. With that opportunity, they have really just embraced me, and I've, you know, helping a lot of people on the campus and really helping with cultural change, and they are becoming more and more woke during this process. So I have a laundry list, and I can keep going on and on, but just know that here's this little girl from Los Angeles, California, grew up in the hood,
That's
you
what I'm
know,
talking
around
about.
gang members, around death, around
Yes.
drugs, and all of that, barely making a 2.0 GPA in high school to graduating from a prestigious university right down the street from her, you know, with honors and everything. I got a story, but it's just been a
Ooh,
blessing.
I'm getting chills just hearing it. It's like,
Thank you, thank
I
you.
know that we all have a story, and when
Yeah,
you share that journey and what you've gone through, you don't look like what you've been through. And you know,
glory.
I'm just saying, I too have a story, and you were
Yeah,
happened to be at the Winter Circle event when I
yes,
shared, the story about me dying on the living room floor.
yeah.
So it was nothing but God. It wasn't me.
Oh,
God is not a respecter of persons, and I hope no one ever has to experience that.
yeah,
But I do believe in the power of God and the power of
yes,
faith. And when you put your mind to it, you can do it. So you have
absolutely.
really exemplified that tenacity and that willpower to live and to overcome every obstacle. So Dr. Wendy, can you tell the people where they can follow you on the social media platforms?
Absolutely. So for our Instagram love people, I'm on, it says Dr. Not Doctor, but it'll be Wendy underscore Talley, Talley underscore DSW underscore LCSW. But if you just type in Wendy Talley, you'll see all that, and you'll see my beautiful
Oh,
face with my husband. You can also follow me on Facebook as well. Same thing. Wendy Talley, DSW, LCSW. You got to keep your branding the same, which I
that's
always know.
right.
If you want to follow
Absolutely.
my business, it's The Lease, THELESE Consulting Group.
The
I'm right there
least.
on Facebook as well. And I have my own YouTube channel that I'm working on developing. So I hope many of you will subscribe to that. And it's under The Lease as
The
well.
least.
So my middle name means endurance. My father gave that name to my sister, and my sister passed that down to me. So I think, like
Awesome.
you said, under God, we have endured, and the
Yes,
least will
yes.
continue to endure through it all.
Where can they find your book at?
Oh, yes, the book, Smart Goal and Time Management Workbook, is
Okay.
on Amazon. So what you can do is, to make your life a whole lot easier in trying to get through Amazon, go to
Yes.
my website, www.drwendytalley.com. Real easy.
Real
Just
easy.
go to the website, scroll down at the bottom, click on that link, and it's only $20. But that
See,
book will help many people who are startup entrepreneurs, dreamers. If you are looking to change your mindset, positive mindset around money, create more of a strategic plan about any project, and look at how you're spending your time. Hey, that book is for you. And I work with a lot of my clients doing coaching, one-on-one and group, going through that book. So go ahead and pick it up. Very reasonable price. You can definitely enjoy it. And make sure you get one for a friend as well.
well, you know what? I am definitely going to do that because my show is all about giving back. We're all about empowering, educating, and inspiring. Inspired by love. That's what we do. I want to shout out a few of my sponsors as I'm thinking about it right now. Lauren English Walton created this beautiful custom stack and it has all these definitely charms and just things that are edifying to me. And so I just want to shout her out, Lauren English Walton. She's on Facebook. Her collection is called Jazz E Collection. Also, one of my other sponsors is Only Patsy Ann, and she designed this blinged out sippy cup. So those are my two sponsors for the show for this month. And if you want to subscribe, please send me an email, RachelLoveBrand@gmail.com. So let's get back into it. Let's dive into and unpack all this goodness that God has blessed you with. Dr. Talley, what are some of the identifying characteristics of a person that may be suffering from a traumatic incident or something that maybe they don't notice, but you as a parent, as a sibling, as a coworker, you see some things and say, hey, this may be going on and I want to see if you can get help.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're asking this very important question, because now we're working from home. We're in people's homes and we get to see them a little bit more intimately and personally, but there are some very important signs. If you don't mind, not only I would give for adults, but I also want to give to teens and children as well, because as parents, as aunties and uncles, play mamas and play daddies, and bonus mamas and bonus daddies, we need to be able to be ahead of the curve on this thing, because the pandemic and the racial unrest that we are experiencing is going to unearth a lot of these things if it's not already happening now. So I have my copious notes in front of me. So the first thing we want to be able to do is understand that when we're dealing with emotional stress, it's going to look a little bit differently. And what's going to look like is you may have some trouble sleeping. You may say, hey, Wendy, I've been dealing with insomnia for a long time, or I've always had problems sleeping. But it may have increased more so this time. Or you could be sleeping longer, missing certain meetings because you've overslept. You now need a medication to help you sleep, right? So those are the things we want to be mindful of. Also, too, when people want to pull away, now this is what I want you all to listen to, colleagues, co-workers, okay, peers. When you have a colleague, co-worker, or peer, they're one way. They've been one way. You've known them for one particular way, but now they're pulling from you. They're beginning to isolate and distance themselves from you. Call them more often.
Yes.
What's going on? How are you doing? How can I assist you? Let them know you are an ear, a safe, listen to these words. I'm a safe place for you to talk if you truly are a safe place, okay? Also, too, low energy. Many of us are been sitting for long periods of time. We've been gained some weight. I was looking at myself this weekend and what I was eating. I said, oh God, and the low energy, like I need to lose at least 10 to 15 pounds. We need to get Ty. Listen.
I'm already on. Ty is going to help me out.
All right, because Ty is all that in a bag of chips. Also, too, we want to be able to look at headaches. Maybe you've never experienced a lot of headaches before, but you're experiencing some migraines and some stress and some tension headaches lately. This is what I want each and every person to do. I want you to begin to record keep, monitor these things that you are experiencing. So when are you having these tension headaches, migraines, or what have you? When are you having them? How long are you having them? What's the level of intensity? And then look at what are you taking to relieve them. That'll also, too, which could be an indication you could be dehydrated. People drink more water. Talk to your elderly people in the home. Make sure they got a case of water in their home every 3 to 5 days. How low are you on water? Check on them, okay? If you find that they're worrying a lot of worry time, or feeling guilty, right? And feeling helpless and hopeless. Where is that coming from? When did it start? What changed in your mind? So they beginning to show these signs. Another thing is increased drinking and smoking, using drugs and alcohol. So for the folks that are in recovery, they're experiencing a lot of relapse right now. And then there's some folks who didn't have an issue, but now they're drinking and smoking more recreational drugs now because they don't have a place to put their energy. Move that down to also to our teenagers. Now, they may be experimenting with all different types of drugs and alcohol, but now it has increased because they don't have another outlet. We got to get outside. We got to get outside, Rochelle. We got to get outside and start moving and shaking, getting creative with our hobbies. Those are the most important things. And also to readjust. If they find that they're not adjusting or readjusting to this new normal, people, there is a new normal coming. It's here right now. If you have a trouble with getting used to changes, you're going to have a hard time with change because it's here. It's going to be here to stay, and we're moving. So apply a lot of those things to the teenagers, but I want you to also include this as well. You got teenagers that don't want to leave home.
Yes.
You got a teenager that's always been sociable and going out, and they don't go out anymore. Now, of course, with the pandemic, you got to be concerned, right?
Yes.
But they don't have any other outlets. You got to get them some outlets. Zoom, like we're doing.
Yes.
FaceTime. Maybe create a picnic. Listen, you guys, the parks are still open. You can still social distance in a circle.
Right.
Yeah, my girlfriends, we do it now. We got the kids to do it. Paint, if you guys can get them painting. A girlfriend of mine, LaShawn Spivey, she has a really great painting process with her kids. She's got 4 of them in the house. So she has them all doing different types of painting. She'll create the sketch, and she will use color to talk about emotions. Another thing with teenagers, difficult managing conflict. Now, teenagers are who they are and who they are, right? But when it becomes so severe that their interaction, their interpersonal relationships with people are starting to really break down, then we want to be able to look at that. Okay. And then for our little stink potness, right? Our little babies, when they're at home, if you find them, they're very clingy to you, they're all up under you, and they won't leave your side. They're telling you, Mommy, not only am I bored, but I'm afraid to be alone.
Oh, okay.
I'm afraid to be alone. Okay. Or, they're missing their friends. They're missing their sport activity. Where the soccer games and the baseball and the ballet classes. Well, what if you actually was able to have them do some exercises from a YouTube video?
Yes.
Right? Get their little friends, maybe go to a park again, social distance. Put on a boom box and let the kids just dance, but they're social distance.
I love it.
Create a party, right? With balloons and things like that. And then parents with the little ones. You've been at home for a long time with this baby. First, they was in your stomach for 9 months, and you were waiting for this child to get out your body. Now they in your face. Okay, and we almost on that 9 months giving birth right about now, right?
Yes.
And they're just in your face. Parents, watch how you talk to your children.
Yes.
If you are lashing out in anger, if you are snapping, you're telling your child, your presence to me is a bother.
Oh.
Your existence right now is stopping me from what it is I want to do. You're letting that child know that you're not part of my right now or my everyday, and you're blocking my process. We don't want to do that. This is what we want to do. Yes. We want to let them become a part of the process. Time management, get the book. Hey, okay, I'm working from 8 to 10. I take a break at 10 o'clock. I got a 15, 20-minute break. Let's cook a snack. Let's play a quick game of Uno.
Yes.
Or let's play a video game. Hey, the adults like to play video games too to get away, right?
Yes.
Or maybe you can do a cute TikTok video, do a dance, right, with your young person, right? Do those little things to let them know how to create boundaries when there's playtime and work time, but that you are part of my playtime. I'm not going to forget about you. I like being around you. I like and I love you. You can love somebody, but you don't have to like them. Kids want to be liked and loved. When you don't like somebody, you don't want them in your presence. You can love somebody from a distance. So I just want to be able to give all of those tips from adults, teens, and little stink partners, our little babies. We want to make sure we can do that. And just lastly, really quickly, personal time.
Yes.
Men, if you can't get to the gym, go do a quick run. Women, if you can't get to the nail salon or what have you, but you can definitely still get your hair done in Jesus' name. Amen.
Hello.
Praise the Lord.
Hello. Yes.
Right. But if you need to get away, maybe go have a nice lunch with yourself. Okay. Maybe go walk around the mall. The malls are still open. I just did some serious shopping yesterday. Okay. So get out a little bit and have some me time. And then come back and be recharged and be renewed and love on your family again. So those are my quick tips.
I love it. I mean, from self-care to caring for the ones that you love. And there is a proper way to do it so that everyone gets the attention. So no one is feeling slighted or lacking or crying out for the attention that will cause some other things to happen.
Right.
So just really quickly, I wanted to kind of recenter back to, some of the forms that we have been dealing with the pandemic, with the stay-at-home orders, how do we schedule the self-care? Well, you kind of talked about it, but I just kind of want to go into depth about why is it important? Like, why is breathing important? Why is, taking a long hot bath or doing a mask? Why is it important? Why do we?
All of my favorite things. I did all of that this weekend, right?
Yes.
So during the 4th of July holiday, me and my husband actually went away. We actually got a room somewhere away from the house. We didn't want to deal with the fireworks, and we just went away. And so sometimes you need to unplug.
Yes.
When you are unplugging, what you're doing to your mind is you allowing it to recreate new positive images. What you put in your mind is based off of what you control. So that whole ability to self-care is to be able to unplug, whether if you can do it for 15 minutes or you can do it for 3 days. Whatever that may be, you got to make the time to unplug. When do I unplug? If it's during the week and you're working from home,
right.
Unplug during the time of your breaks. You still have to take your 2:15 and your 30-minute break.
Yes,
Some of us got an hour break. Hello, Jesus, right? So we still got some HR laws that we still need to follow. So take those time. Breathing. Rochelle, you talked about breathing. Yes. Sometimes we just need to just stop, take in 5 good deep breaths, and slowly let those things out. You will find that when you're doing this, and I'm not a doctor when it comes to medical or anything like that, so I want to make sure I stay in my lane. But when we do breathing exercises with our clients, what that does is it helps you recenter. It brings you right back into the present moment, being very mindful. Where am I? Who am I? And what's the state of my body? It helps you regulate your heart.
Okay.
It helps you be able to open up the senses in your entire system, right? It gives you a reset button. Deep breathing is so huge. Sometimes you have to do that. Another important thing, like where do I find time to even do this kind of stuff? Because some people say they're stuck in the house and some people say they're safe in the house. If you got a front yard or a backyard, go outside and get some vitamin D.
Thank you.
I knew a client of mine, young. She was like, I'm in the house all the time. I'm like, you don't have a front yard? She said, not really. I said, do you have a backyard? She said, oh, I have a big backyard. I said, do you have a table? She said, yeah. Do you have a chair you can take outside? She said, yeah. Go outside and do your work.
Yes.
She said, I can do that? I said, it's your house.
Yes.
Can your Wi-Fi reach out there? Do you have hotspot in Jesus' name? Right? She said, yeah, I have all that. Take the table, take the chair, get a long extension cord, and take your butt on outside. Sit in the sun. Breathe the air. Change your environment.
Change your environment.
Those are the things that you can do during this time frame. One of my colleagues, my business partner when it comes to Black Speakers Rock, Keandra Jackson, she goes to the beach every Friday. She will go hard Monday through Thursday and sometimes on the weekend. But Friday, she devotes to the beach, right?
That's my thing.
What day can you devote?
Yes.
And in that day, is it 2 hours, 3 hours? You leave at 10, you come back at 2. I don't know. But what can you devote every single week to? Do that. Do that. And so that's how you find those times. But you got to be intentional and be non-negotiable.
Ooh, child. That was a whole mouthful. That was just, you just laid it out. Get your life. This is how you get your life.
Get your life, your whole life.
Not just saying we want you to live your very best life. And how do you do it? By incorporating these few simple steps, tips to live your best life. I mean, because like you said, this is our new normal. And
Yes.
I think it's going to get worse before it really gets better. So we have to prepare ourselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. We have to do that. So I appreciate you coming on the show and just kicking off the summer series, because we want people to enjoy the outdoors and outside in the backyard. I love that ideal. Pop up a little tent, pour you some lemonade, and chill. You don't got to go nowhere. But if you choose to go somewhere, find a place that you have solitude. You can refresh yourself, where you can just get the fresh air. The beach is perfect. That's my getaway. That's my go-to. I haven't done it enough. So for the summer, that's where I will be, to enjoy my family and friends and just myself, enjoy my me time.
Absolutely.
So I absolutely love it. Do you have any closing tips you want to leave us with?
Absolutely. Just really quickly, it's a mouthful of everything that I just said, but I want to leave you with this. First and foremost is connect. I need everyone to connect. Connect this summer. Find every way to connect. And I know our young people love to text.
Yes.
But do a video call. Do a regular call. Let somebody hear your voice. And you mentioned something about a beach. You actually gave me an idea. What if 5 of you and your girlfriends go to the beach? You guys all park. You get in, and then you have a little table and a little chair, and you place it right behind your car. And every one of your friends do that. Do you guys know now you're having a picnic outside and you're still social distancing?
Yeah.
You're having dinner, you're having lunch.
I love it.
Yeah. So basically, I want you all to do that. Yeah, you should definitely do it. Call me, let me know when you go so I can come with you. Unplug. You definitely want to unplug. That's the most important thing. That bath soaking thing, not only is it good for your skin, okay, but what it does is release toxins. So take a bath. If you're not a regular bath person, like I mostly take showers. So if you're not a regular bath person, take one at least 1 or 2 times a week and put some essential oils in there, some bath salts, and really let all those toxins move away from you. Okay.
And drink your water.
And then lastly, pick some hobbies that require you to improve your mood. Okay. And maybe help somebody else. But make sure they're hobbies you can do outside. Vitamin D is key. Watch this. Vitamin D and vitamin C has been said by many healthcare professionals to help with making sure that you don't get the coronavirus. Again, I'm not a medical professional. Research it. Look me up. But let me tell you this much. We've been taking vitamin C and vitamin D since March. And my husband actually works outside the house. So far, so good. Okay. So all I'm saying is put that vitamin D back into your system. It helps with your immune system. It helps with inflammation. You want to be able to do those things and continue to research on some new stuff. Keep your mind up.
Ooh, well, you know what the word says, as a man thinks, so is he.
Amen.
So we have to put in something good so that we can start dwelling on the goodness of God and all the benefits that he has in his word for us. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, Dr. Tally, for just blessing the show, blessing us with these relative tips and solutions to some of the just common issues. I think that a lot of times we just need to hear some just bright ideas and solutions that we can apply to our lives just to make it a little better. And I think you have. So on my site, I will recap just some of the tips, just in case you missed it, or go back and listen, share with a friend. Don't forget to check out Dr. Tally's website, www.drwendytally.com. You can purchase the book. Make sure you get one for a friend. Also follow her on Facebook and Instagram. And where was that?
And that Instagram and Facebook is Wendy Tally, DSW and LCSW. Really simple and easy.
I didn't want to mess it up. So, and there you have it. I just want to bless our listeners and followers to our show to like, share, and like it, you share it, and subscribe on our YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. And with that, I want to thank you, Wendy, for coming on the show and just really delighting us with your presence and with all these wholesome mental tips that we can all benefit from, all of us. So thank you very much for that. And remember these words: be inspired by love. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Inspired by Love. Join us every Wednesday for the juice to be inspired. Like, follow, and share this podcast. Be sure to leave a positive rating